Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. I'm Shanee Howard. This is Tommy Shelby.
Hello.
And Ryan the Rat Robinson.
Hey, welcome back.
So, do you guys have any video game related news?
Not really. I mean, it's weird because we've been doing this whole recording 2 episodes, each week. And when it comes to, for some reason, every time you want to do news, you do it second. So our news is even later than it should be, you know?
Yeah, because this is going up a week later.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't have to. I guess this one could go up first.
Yeah,
but...
absolutely. But, like, it's just like, I don't know. And I haven't been keeping up with news as much as I used to. Like, I used to be pretty religious about, like, checking several different websites and all that. Now it's just, like, whatever comes across my Twitter feed that I find interesting. But there's not much other than Randy Pitchford's blow up over Game Informer's article on the microtransactions.
He was tweeting Andy McNamara at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and that was really funny.
So since I didn't read the article, explain it to me.
How can you fuck me on this?
During the
That's what he said.
The Borderlands 3 reveal event,
where everyone got real mad.
No.
Right? Or what? When did people start getting mad about the Epic thing?
Let's let Tom walk you through this, and you'll catch up.
Well, okay. So one of the things he says is he says no microtransactions.
He did say that verbatim.
And there are microtransactions.
There's microtransactions aren't what Randy Pitchford thinks they are.
Well, I think they are what he thinks they are, because so Game Informer writes up an article on it. He blows up at them on Twitter, and it was very funny, very, very funny. It's a good read. Read it.
You should definitely read that. It's pretty good.
So, like, the whole thing is like, he is saying it's just cosmetic. Borderlands fanboys are saying it's just cosmetic.
Yeah.
It's not just cosmetic. They break down the tiers of the different editions of the game, and like one of the higher priced ones is like mods. Mods are cosmetic?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the mods can be cosmetic depending on what they are.
Sure, but
they probably
you
aren't.
know that's not going to be all that they are.
Yeah.
And in fact, there is another item, much like Borderlands 2 had, that will increase rare loot drops. That's not cosmetic.
That's directly linked to gameplay.
You're paying for that.
Yeah.
It's not pay to win.
Sure.
Which is where Randy Pitchford's coming from. But guess what? You can't have pay to win in a non-competitive game. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, if you're into Borderlands, more power to you. I'm sure this will be
more Borderlands,
equal or greater to previous Borderlands.
Yeah.
But don't get mad when people write about something that you said.
Yeah.
So he just blew up because you said a Game Informer article called him out, the fact that...
Well, they didn't even call him out. It wasn't because I think that...
They're bringing attention to the fact that he says there's no microtransactions, and there are.
So Randy Pitchford's reaction was very much because what Game Informer wrote could be construed as what is known as gotcha journalism, and
I don't think
gotcha.
And Randy Pitchford was he literally says in public he was how can you fuck me on this?
Yeah,
and it's just well, dude, that's what you said.
Yeah.
You said no microtransactions, and here we see microtransactions. And so Andy McNamara, who's the editor-in-chief of Game Informer, he's like, we don't see any need to change what we wrote in the article because it's accurate.
True.
So
and what really bothers me about it is every now and then there'll be some sort of controversy in the games industry or otherwise, where it's people are just coming to the defense of this company that makes millions of dollars, oftentimes off of screwing you.
Yeah.
You feel the need to defend.
Which is why I don't understand.
There are companies I love, right? I loved Capcom growing up, things like that, but
they're not
Capcom
your friend.
has done some dumb things I don't agree with.
Well,
Same thing with Konami.
Yeah.
It's
I
funny
think,
to me.
well, here's the thing is that if
and I don't disagree with anything they're doing with Borderlands 3.
Well,
I think it's all completely fine.
It's
but
just
don't
call it what it is.
Right. Yeah.
Don't be dishonest.
And you look at Randy Pitchford and you look at the ways in which he has poorly represented his company in the past, and then this is just another in a series of missteps. And it's not the first time this has happened. It will not be the last time it happens.
Well, and there's plenty of figureheads you can point to that are similar, right? Peter Molyneux, Cliff Bleszinski,
Sure.
Ken Levine. None of them bother me to the extent that Randy Pitchford does.
The thing about Randy Pitchford is that, so with Peter Molyneux, right? Like, what was his thing? His thing was always like he would overpromise, or like, and he would overpromise, and then the games wouldn't.
Well, he didn't even like overpromise, like Sean Murray overpromised.
Right.
Peter Molyneux just kind of exaggerates things, right?
He embellished it to but
like the whole hand holding thing.
And
it's
then
gonna change the way you think about video games.
But the difference,
really, you're just holding a character's hand.
Yeah, well, the difference here is that when people play the game, they're like, well, this is what that is. Peter Molyneux didn't have a Twitter meltdown afterward.
Right. Well, yeah.
And so that's the delineation there. And also I think that a big part of it also is that this is a behavioral trait for this person, like at least in a public facing way.
And even the whole thing a couple months ago,
trend is what I should say.
Even the whole thing a couple months ago with his flash drive, like, to me, that's kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what happened with that.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah,
What happened with this flash drive?
So he left his flash drive at a medieval times, and someone found it, and there was porn on it, and there was allegations that the porn contained on the flash drive was contained an underage woman, girl, and we don't know whether or not that's true. But then afterwards, because it contained both work files,
and the way he handled that, I thought was very graceful.
Yeah,
because he came out and said, "Yeah, there was porn on it. I look at porn. They were not underage. They were very young, but they were not. Yeah. How you can't really handle that situation in a better way, but then we see the total opposite with this shit. You know, it's so funny. It's well, and it is very entertaining to read.
I think that also there is there is a perception of at this current time where Borderlands 3 is concerned, there is a perception of Randy that is not particularly favorable, which started with the trailer reveal event when the trailer was screwing up, and he said some things that were basically like the people who were he's basically throwing his staff under the bus, and I think that there's some residual feelings lingering over that, and then this thing happens, and it's just
and if you're PR for Gearbox or 2K, running fucking damage control on Randy Pitchford,
on the CEO of the company,
must be exhausting.
Yeah.
You deserve a raise. You know,
you're probably not gonna get one, but you deserve it.
Well, because I think that he,
I guess they'll get a raise depending on how many of these microtransactions sell.
And it's just he continues to behave in a when you don't expect the CEO of a company to behave that way. At least I don't have that expectation.
Yeah. And what I've seen of Borderlands 3, it looks like more Borderlands. It looks a little bit nicer, but it looks like more Borderlands, But that game is I don't know. I'm not fly on the wall, right? But that game has probably gone through some development hell,
right?
Considering how long ago it was actually revealed for the first time,
right?
That was the very first PAX South.
Yeah.
The first time anybody had actually heard confirmation for Borderlands 3. Then it was revealed many more times after that.
Yeah, so what was that? 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, it's just not a good place to be in. That and I don't know, man. Some of these things that people are saying are new about the game are not new. They're oh, these character powers. The whole thing with the hand coming up and holding somebody in place. Guess what? The Siren did that before.
Yeah.
There was no hand there, but it was the exact same thing.
She did the hand thing.
It's so fucking dumb. If you're excited for that game, I'm happy for you. I just let me know why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, I've not seen anything of the game that looks particularly new or novel.
I want more Game of Thrones. I want more Borderlands.
I mean, here's the thing: the games don't necessarily have to be new and novel. If you want more of the same, that's okay. Last night I played fucking Tetris Evolution and then Tetris Splash back to back, and those games are pretty much the same fucking game. Yeah.
They scaled down the number of guns they promised.
Yeah, but like,
because quadrillion is not a number.
I just
It's
don't,
not.
I
So-
just don't get it. I don't get it.
I guess we'll find out in September.
I have some good news.
What's that?
So as y'all are probably aware with the Notre Dame roof being on fire, Ubisoft
Ubiquitous soft.
donated $500,000 to the restoration.
I mean, that's cool.
That
There-
doesn't really float my boat at all.
There are other places where that money could go.
I mean, I've seen that argument all over since that story broke, right? And my whole thing is like, it's your money, do what you want with it, you know? But
I mean,
like,
that's true.
I don't care about that building. That building
Yeah.
means nothing to me.
I mean, it's true. Do what you want with your money, but I mean, that building is worth $30 billion. So
Yeah.
I think at least pointing out something good.
Sure.
sure.
Fluff pieces, as they would call them.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
church.
I mean, yeah. So this week I wanted to talk about video game fatigue.
Okay. All right. I'm into it.
I feel like I probably experience it more than you guys because, I mean, it's why I tend to like play more casual games. I have it with have a lot of hobbies, and
Puzzles.
yeah, I was puzzles with the example I gave to Tommy earlier. I have a lot of hobbies, and I do jump from one to the other quite often. Like just because I do get tired of like doing the same thing. It's like I want the feeling of accomplishment, and I want the fun that comes with video game playing.
Yeah.
But there's just quite a few times that I just like I can't put the brain power to this.
Well,
I need something else. I need something that's going to be a little bit more engaging or exciting. And it's not like because like I don't want to listen.
It sounds like you need something that's less engaging.
well, like I
you
mean,
need a good podcast game.
well, like something that's gonna make me want to be engaged. I guess.
I don't know,
Yeah.
because Shanee, it's funny to hear you say that because all the games that I've heard you talk about that are outside of the mobile space are usually these big, grand games.
And I think that might be part of my problem.
But like
is
at
that
the same time, they're kind of simple though, right? Like Kingdom Hearts is not like a very complex game.
Yeah,
Long, sure.
But it's got a story
Persona
that
5
people want to pay attention to.
Persona 5,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
pretty simple to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, pretty simple. Yeah, like I normally I don't really super get into like say fighting games or things that I have, or even like Demon Soul series
Yeah.
or the Soul series. Things like that are like super difficult. No, I mean I guess there are games that I play that I make more difficult for myself
Right.
just for the fun of it, I guess. And then there's games that I'm just not good at that I do play that like a lot of platformers and things like that. I'm not good at them, but I do play them.
Right.
But I just get fatigued from playing video games where I just need a break.
Yeah.
And there's different things that can cause that. A lot of it that causes it is because I do play these like big games that are like very long.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm a collectible person, so I want to get every small thing. So I'm like always putting a lot of time and effort into the games that I am playing that I'm really into, and like doing a bunch of research and like looking at videos of other people playing it and what you can and can't do in it.
Right.
Instead of really like and then the games I tend to hop around from are just like my casual like mobile games or my Atomi games, which are pretty easy to hop from game to game. But like yeah, there's just times where I'm just like I don't want to play video games. I'm just gonna veg out and watch TV for this whole week.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely get that way, but there was several years back. Shit. So what are we on? 8th, so 7th, 6th, the 6th generation of console. I didn't completely miss. I played a lot of those games, whether it was at Ryan's house or at another friend's house. And then eventually, after the console generation was dying, I ended up purchasing a good amount of those consoles and games. But that entire generation was the only generation since I started playing video games where I myself, during the console generation, did not own or play many video games. And that had less to do with video game fatigue because I still was enjoying gaming than it had to do with other interests, girls, skateboarding, things of that nature.
Being cool.
Yeah, or like trying to think I was cool, right? But like as an adult, that doesn't really happen to me as much. There's very few consoles that I miss out on, very few big titles that I miss out on. What I get more is like a daily thing, right? There might be a day where I don't want to play video games, where I want to do something that's more passive. So I'll read a book or watch a movie or whatever it might be. But like, what's funny to me, and I've said this for a few years now, is the conversation about video games is, to me, more entertaining than the video games themselves. So I find myself, if I'm not wanting to play something, very frequently watching old GDC talks or reading Kotaku articles on video games or on specific developers. And this is what leads me to playing things like Spelunky, or Super Meat Boy or whatever it might be, because I'm researching those games, learning more about those games. It gives me a drive to want to play those games. But I don't necessarily think it's a thing that needs to be cured either. Like, if it's something you're not wanting to do, then, like, don't fucking do it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens to me. It's okay. Like, I still love video games. I still like playing video games. I still like hearing about them.
Yeah.
Finding out what other people are playing. Finding out, like, what kind of gamer someone is and, like, what their interests are as far as, like, as a person versus, like, what games they're attracted to. Because I think that's super fun and interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I still love video games, but I definitely suffer from video game fatigue quite often, but I also suffer from like most of my hobbies fatigue. Like there's times, well, there will just be like a couple months where I just don't touch a puzzle.
Right.
There'll be times where I don't read a book.
See, and in the way that you speak about yourself being fatigued in video games, talking about these longer experiences, right? That there might be less to them, but they are very padded. Like, might not work at all. But I would suggest, what if you took the time you put into one of those games and put it into one of these harder games that you are not as into, whether that be a fighting game or a rhythm game? Because, 60 hours of a Kingdom Hearts put into something like a Street Fighter or a fucking Taiko no Tetsujin or like whatever it might be, you'd probably start getting pretty good at those games, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that wouldn't necessarily cure your ailment, right? But like it might, seeing that progression might get you past that,
Like I do that with like platformers.
Yeah.
Like I'm still not great at them. I still put like a lot of effort in. Oh, I used to. Like
because that really has helped me.
It's like Assassin's Creed. Like a lot of that's platforming.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after 2. I mean, I guess there was quite a bit in 1, but anyway, not the point. Like that, like there's times where I've put in like time and effort into like platformers,
Right?
And I can find that to be very rewarding. Of itself is to get better at something that I'm not good at. But most like, what grabs me about games is really just like the story.
Sure, but like,
and like, or if it's like, or something like that, or if it, I don't know, and.
And this is just a joke, but like I told somebody this recently, that if what grabs you about video games is the story, then there's this new thing you should do called books. But
I do read those.
But like it's funny because like Ryan knows, my video game fatigue tends to be with specific titles, right? And for me, that very frequently becomes open world titles. There are many open world games that I started and never finished just because I got bored or tired of them or whatever it might be, right? And there's certain people who we've met, right, that have kind of changed the way that I look at video games. Watching people that have really like perfected a game, or gotten very, very skilled at a game has kind of changed the way that I approach video games now. In that, like, it used to be about what trophies can I get, or like you said, getting collectibles or whatever it might be.
I love collectibles.
And I do too, to an extent. But like now it's more about how good can I get at this game, And that has really just changed my whole outlook on games as an art form,
Yeah, I should probably like try going in with that mindset and see if I do have a different experience.
Shanee, honestly,
and it's not for everybody.
Well, yeah,
something that I've learned about you in the years since we've met is that your focus doesn't tend to last for very long, but when you are focused on something, you're intensely focused on it.
Yeah, 100%
and
accurate.
I think that if like even for those brief periods of time when you are focused, like if you put that intense focus into like a fighting game, or something that requires like that kind of timing, I feel like in a pretty decent amount of time you would see some good progression there.
But well, and the thing is, like, if your thing is story, there are things that can provide you with both.
Yeah.
High as a high skill level, as well as a good story.
Not saying it's like the highest skill level as far as fighting games. I mean, but I have been putting in effort for Smash Brothers, and I have been
A lot of skill in Smash Brothers.
And I have been seeing like me progress in it. I'm getting better at it. I am getting like the muscle memory. I am like figuring out combos and like what to do with characters, and that's pretty fun.
Shanee, you seem to me like a Wario main.
No, I actually use Pit a lot.
Pit's good for ranged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Wario farts.
I've never in a fighting game. I've never done like really ranged characters.
Yeah.
I'm very similar to Ryan when he talked about in the Mortal Kombat episode, like where he is like pretty like up close and just constant, and that's what I've always done in Smash Brothers. But it's fun to like try and like do a different playing style and actually like get good at it.
Yeah.
Which was an intentional get good phrase, but yeah. And even that though, I still like won't play Smash Brothers for a week, and then for a week I'll play for a couple days in a row where I'm like practicing.
See, but you need to prepare. And I tell people this, like I started this with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and it is carried over into other games that I play, other competitive games that I play. If you can get the game day one and jump online day one, like you will improve so much faster and so much easier.
Yeah, because your progress will be scaled against the progress of others.
And it doesn't matter whether that's Smash Brothers or Call of Duty or Tetris or whatever it might be. Like it's really a big thing, in my opinion.
Sure.
There have been times where I've been interested in like a shooter, and I didn't have the money the week that it came out, so I just won't play that game. And like, I don't think you should take it to that extreme, but like, it is very, very helpful in my opinion.
Get into Quake 3.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, I know other people like also. Like I shouldn't say suffer through, but like other people experience it as well. And I think it's interesting how different my video game fatigue is to what I would expect like from you guys. Because I would expect from you guys like a day, like just one day, maybe two, where you don't want to play video games.
It's so funny because there are times where, like, a lot of the time, if a day goes by and I don't play a video game, it's simply because that day I didn't have time to. Like I didn't have time, or maybe I was just too tired.
See, for me, it's always I'm too tired.
Yeah. Like maybe I'm at work later than I normally would be, and I get home and I got to cook dinner and I got to do all this other stuff. I got to walk the dog and all this other stuff, and then I get to the point where it's like, well, I need to go to bed, so I just don't play a game that day. But when you said video game fatigue, every time that word comes up in the context of video games, I just like. My mind immediately goes to The Witcher 3. That is like The Witcher 3 is not like it is not the biggest open world that I've experienced, but it's the most dense. And I remember I was playing it the year that it came out, and I was just doing quests and everything, and then I just got to a point. Like one day while I was playing, I hit a wall and I was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I just turned the game off because I was just like you look at the map and it's just when you see an open world game and all those icons are they're like clumped together and overlapping with one another, and it's just like I was like, when am I gonna have the time for this, right? And I got tired of it and I never went back to it. And it's a weird thing because that typically doesn't happen to me with the games that I'm enjoying, but like there's just so much of it that is just too much for me anyway. But you said something that kind of struck a chord with me, in that like you feel fatigue like when playing a game, and then like you happen across like a different way to play, like a different play style, and that has happened to me with multiple games. that happened. There was a period of time where I was playing, a lot of Skyrim, and the core conceit of that game is basically the same regardless of who you're playing as or what your character is. But I got
Craft your own story, Ryan.
sure. But there was a point in time where I felt like I've been waiting. I thought to myself about how I'd been waiting for that game to come out basically since I finished Oblivion. Not specifically that game, but I'm like, when's the next Elder Scrolls? Is what I mean.
Right.
And so it came out, and then I put some time into it, and I got to the point where I was like, I don't really want to go any further with this. I'm done with it.
And what's funny is because my memory of you playing Skyrim for the first time was you loving it.
No,
Well,
yeah, obviously, but put that on a 6-month timeline.
Sure.
But then one day I got really into because I'm really into even when we're talking, especially with single player games, I'm really into role playing the character that I have. But I don't always have the mind for creating characters, so I got really into this forum where people were just basically posting their ideas for character role plays, different builds and whatever, and that kind of reset the timer for me on Skyrim, because I was like I never thought about playing that way before, and then I'm just playing now. I was like, this is a whole different game. It's not a different game.
It's
obviously.
funny because that's the only way I think about playing those kinds of games,
Yeah.
like Diablo or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Is builds.
Yeah. But then the funny thing about Diablo is that the space for that kind of Diablo is a role playing game, but the space for that kind of role playing is very limited. And so but when I opened up to a more of a palette in Skyrim, I can create my own character, and they can be this kind of character or whatever, and it was just kind of that kind of doing that sort of thing kind of helps me to when I'm just done, I'm just tired of something, that kind of resets it.
Yeah.
And how long I can enjoy that I guess just depends on how open-ended that stuff is. And it's funny because I think about the idea of generalized video game fatigue, having a day where I want to do something else instead of playing video games. And for as far back as I can remember, that has never been an inclination for me. Because there are times when I remember, I think back to my freshman year of high school. And there was a guy that Tom and I knew in high school, and I remember he said in a conversation, he's like I don't play, and I don't play video games. They're boring. And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, what are you doing after school if you're not playing video games? And so for me, it's never I'm tired of video games right now, I'm gonna do something else. It's always I'm tired of this kind of game or this
Agreed.
game, and I'm just gonna play something else. And it's very on those days where I'm too tired to play a video game or I don't have the time for it. It always feels like by the time I go to bed that night, I'm just thinking man, I really wish I would have gotten to play some video games today, any video game. And that happened with me a lot when I first got my computer. Tom would regularly comment on how often I would jump around. And I was just I've got all these options and I can't
See, and it's funny you say that, because for me that's become a remedy almost, right?
Yeah.
In that I've always owned a decent amount of video games, but never as much as I do now, right?
Right.
It's gotten to the point where I've got thousands of games, hundreds of which I've never touched.
Right.
So if I'm tired of this or tired of that, I've always got another option to jump to,
Right.
Another flavor or whatever it might be.
Sure.
And that helps me.
Well, see, and that's kind of what also motivates me. If I see a game that I'm probably not going to play for a while, but it's on sale,
See, and that sucks, right? Because not everybody can do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I say on sale, I mean $1.50.
Sure, but even that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So because I think it was 2 days ago, I was Murdered Soul Suspect for $1.50, huh?
Bad game.
I was but it's $1.50.
Yeah.
Every game's good for $1.50.
It is worth it. It is easily worth $1.50.
So, and it's one of those games that I will play specifically I was like, I want to see where this game goes.
Yeah. Quiet Man.
Sure.
It's better than Quiet Man.
I mean, I've never played the Quiet Man, so I can't say, but
I haven't played it either, but I've watched the entire playthrough of it.
yeah. But like, and with the advent of flash sales and humble sales and all this other stuff where like you can get a bunch of games for like a small amount of money, then it makes it easy for you to have all these options, and then like it's hard for me to get tired of games when I have all these other games that I've never played and I get curious about them.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered what it's like, because it's never been a feeling that I've had. I've never had a moment where I thought, I don't feel like playing video games. Like, I always feel like playing video games, and like, maybe that's a problem, but like,
Yeah.
but I've always wondered like what it's like when someone's like, I don't feel like playing video games, or like I've always been curious about like when like people tell me that like they don't play video games because they're boring or whatever. I'm just like, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
I mean, I think like a lot of people just want a passive experience, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Especially like, I mean, fuck, man, I work a minimum of 12 hours a day.
Right.
So yeah, sometimes when I get home, I want to do as little as possible.
Sure.
Even if that is just like not pushing a button. But I also think like recently I've been trying to look for more things like Neo Geo Newgrounds, right? Like I don't know if Newgrounds is still a thing or not.
I think so.
But yeah, like looking for just these dumb fucking computer games. Like, did you
Right.
play that Street Fighter thing that came out?
Mm-mm.
It's like pretty much a shoot 'em up. Like you're walking, but it's pretty much a shoot 'em up. It's really fucking dumb. But like just something little like that as a palate cleanser
Right.
can get you ready for something a bit more grand. But
Well, I think.
Yeah, like it,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. I guess yeah. Part of the problem, besides like being very ADD, some of it's probably the way I go into a lot of games. Is if something catches my interest, I do want to know everything about it. I want to like complete the whole story, and I want to make sure I'm completing all of it. So, like with the Tomy games, I'll see how many endings each character has,
and you do every route.
and I do every route and try to get every single ending and every bonus thing, and like Kingdom Hearts and like Persona. Like I played those games to where I felt it was complete. Did I get did I platinum them? No.
No, you didn't.
No. Kingdom Hearts 3, I still want to,
But
but
you're not gonna.
I might not.
You're
but
too fatigued.
Yeah. You got video game fatigue. The doctor told you that.
so fatigued.
You got video game exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like part of my thing is just because I go into everything wanting to complete it and wanting to know everything about it. Like with TV shows that I get into, I normally will go to the Reddit and look at the episode discussion as soon as I finish an episode and see what other people think about it.
Yeah.
If like there's like in TV shows like a comic book or a book that goes along with it, I want to buy that book and download it so I know what the other like the alternate version of the TV show is like.
Sure.
I do get super intense about stuff, and I do have a unless it's like a casual mobile game, then I do have a hard time with like if it's a PC game or on my Switch or something like that. Baba Is You, I'm pretty good at actually, just because it's like a puzzle game, like just doing it at night.
I imagine it makes you angry at times.
Yes, 100%. I get real mad.
I could see that.
I'm just like, fuck, man. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do on this?
Yeah. And then the answer's super simple and you hate yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Is
Yep.
is the ending of that game is you hate yourself?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess I should like definitely going into it like a different headspace, because I am like I am a perfectionist in a lot of things, like, or like especially do I hold myself on things, and that's one of the things like in life in general that I'm working on is like letting things go, realizing what I can and can't control, and like being okay with that. And it definitely extends to like how I play video games, like just being more like enjoying more of the moment instead of like racing to like know it all and complete it and
I think
see what else
knowing
is
it
there.
all, like that does it for me though, for sure. Like Ryan, well, you too. Like both of y'all know whether it's a game I'm really into or a fucking sitcom I really like I will learn everything I can possibly learn about those things, you know? And like that increases my enjoyment, but I can definitely see why it wouldn't for a lot of people.
Well, like I enjoy it
Tom,
until I'm done.
you know
until I feel like I've just hit the, as he said, hit a wall where I'm just like I'm just done.
It's funny because Tom sometimes knows a considerable amount about things that he doesn't like.
That's true. That is true.
Which is it's always interesting to me. But like
Well, it's like with like Nier Automata or like fucking Shadow of the Colossus. Like I learned everything that there is to know about those.
Yeah.
Unless you were the people that fucking created those, I probably know everything there is to know about those.
Right.
And like Nier Automata is like a fucking history class, man. Like it's ridiculous, you know.
Tom, is that game
But-
homework?
No, it doesn't have to be. I made it homework, but it
Okay.
doesn't have to be. But like at the same time, I think like that's something that could get you in that is of considerable length, but also has something that you can get good at.
Yeah, and
you know?
think about it. I think Nier Automata might be like I think that game might be really well suited for you.
Yeah, I definitely have like a want to play it, because I do like the fact that it is so many genres in one game, really, and like the fact that there's like a bunch of different endings really speaks to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I play video games while playing video games.
Sometimes
I've thought about I've thought about doing a discussion for an episode where like we each give our pitch for a video game that we like that the other two have not played, and then you have to play those games. Like forcing each other to play something, you know, within a certain time frame, be that a month or a week or whatever it might be.
I do think that it would be good for us to, because the taste between the three of us are so different, and that there's very little overlap there.
But like in relation to this conversation, like I think that the idea of you don't get to pick, you have to finish this game.
Yeah.
Within this time frame,
Yeah.
what does that do to your opinion of a game? I think would be interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because like we're not reviewers, we don't work for websites or anything like that. Like we don't have deadlines on when we play video games.
Play them.
Yeah, so I think it'd be an interesting thing to do to ourselves.
I agree. I concur. You know where I learned that word, Shanee? Civilization 2. So.
Speaking of which, there is actually a lot of history and words that I did learn from like being so intense to a game and like learning a lot about it.
You know what Ryan learned last night from Neo Geo Battle Coliseum? Mars people.
Yeah, that's what they're called.
He's seen them before, but he didn't know their name.
I didn't know they were called Mars people. That just seemed too generic to be accurate.
Well,
I
I
mean,
always
are
assumed
we
they'd be called
Earth people?
Martians.
Yeah.
But they're Mars
Well,
people.
because like everyone else has like some kind of like there's Marco and
Terry,
and Terry,
then
like
Mars people.
yeah, like everybody else has got a cool name, and they're just called Mars people.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'd never seen them close up before. So in the selection screen, I said Tom, like, go over to that booby monster.
Yeah.
He's like, booby monster. I was like, yeah, that one right there. He's like, oh, that's Mars people.
Yeah.
If you see them, then you'll know why I call them booby monster.
Sure.
So
Character portrait.
yeah,
Looks like green boobs.
yeah. Dusty old bone full of green boobs.
Green boobs?
But like I said a second ago, like sometimes I play video games while playing video games. Like I remember. I remember. Do you remember back in your World of Warcraft days, Shanee, when you were waiting for an instance group to fill up?
Oh yeah,
So typically-
I played games while I was.
Yeah,
waiting for
I would
some
usually
things.
like when I would wait for that, I would turn to my left, and there was my Xbox 360, and I was playing. Now I'm playing Xbox 360 while I wait for this
I don't
other
think I
game
could
to
do that.
Uh,
That's too much for me.
yeah.
I can podcast in game, but I can't
Yeah.
game in game.
Persona 5.
Although with the fucking Days Gone loading screens, I probably could.
Yeah.
When I was playing Persona 5, I was also playing that. I believe I was playing that like card game based off like animated shows.
Oh, the one you did the check it out on.
Yeah, I think I was playing that.
Family Guy cards.
I had Futurama ones, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like,
Family Guy poker.
yeah. So I was playing that.
That sounds annoying.
It
I was
is.
playing that game while also playing like Persona 5.
Yeah.
And like just because I would be doing a lot of like things like to like combine the monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, that whole loading screen time and like talking. And so I was doing those at the same time. I play a lot of casual games while like loading screens or when I'm grinding. Same with like Breath of the Wild.
What?
When I was doing all the cooking stuff, because I didn't know that you could get the warm armor, and I was going over the mountain, and I just kept making all the hot stuff because you had to like listen to the little cooking animation every time. I was playing like casual phone games while like I was grinding.
What game were you playing that is that brief that you can get anything done during that animation?
Well, I was just doing both of them at the same time. Like the cooking, like the controller to control the cooking, and then like with one hand, and then the game on my other.
What?
Shanee, watch that show and you'll get that reference.
Oh my god.
No, I was like, I've definitely played video games while playing video games. Normally not like too intensive video games at the same time.
You don't want to watch him cook that shit?
Not after cooking all
The little jingle
the
that
time.
plays?
I got tired of that jingle real
So
fast.
there's an observation that my girlfriend made about me when I was playing Days Gone, and she's like, you don't like this game. I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, you pause this game a lot, and it's something that I do. Like if I'm like, it's something that I tend to do. Like I don't know what it is. Like even if I am enjoying myself with the game, I pause the game to look at my phone or to do to read something real quick, something unrelated. Like even if I'm and I don't know why I do that. And I think that's why a lot of games take me so long, because I will regularly like if I'm in some kind of encounter, like a stealth encounter or whatever, I'll usually pause it for no reason and just like go look at something.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I do that.
Just need little commercial breaks.
Sure. Also,
God, I hope that never happens.
Also,
Like it's already happened on mobile, right? But if that invades console games, like here's your commercial now, God, I'll kill myself.
Also, like,
Rest in peace, Tom.
there is so when you start the game, when you start Days Gone, real quick, there is when you every time you pause it, there's something that says this many days gone.
Right.
And the first time you pause it, it's the equivalent of 2 years, because the game picks up 2 years after the whatever. But like every time I've paused it, it's one more days gone.
I didn't know that.
And I don't know why, because
I've not paused that game, but I've only played like an hour.
yeah. Also, your best friend calls you on the radio a lot. He'll say, "I'm gonna go take a nap," and then a second later he'll be like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
We've all had that friend though, right? Like I've had friends who are like, "All right, I'm going to sleep. Good night," and then 5 minutes later they message me again.
Yeah.
I'm like, shut the fuck up and go to sleep, so I can play Days Gone.
I like how you say friends, but it's probably significant others.
I don't have those anymore.
Yeah. Tom got
Not
rid of those.
now,
Yeah.
but
Video games is his wife now.
Sure. Also, Shanee's mom,
Yeah. Barbara.
sick burn.
Rhonda.
Right.
We
Rhoda.
just talked about this.
Rhoda Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I guess
Mary
that's what-
Tyler Howard.
I know, like, I expected it to not happen to you guys as often as with me.
I would expect it to happen to us more because we play more.
Yeah, and
Well,
we're
no-
old guys.
Well, just because y'all are engaged with it more than I am, and I do I've always like.
That's not true though, dude. Because like you come in here after you've played a game that you're really into and you're fucking pumped about it, you know?
Well,
Like,
it's just more of like y'all play a more variety of games than I do.
yeah.
And then I also like since I was a kid, like I jump from one hobby to the next. It's a thing I do. So like, I mean, not that y'all don't.
Try juggling next.
Yeah.
I have
with
tried
knives.
juggling. I'm not good at it.
Sure.
Shanae, I
Maybe
think-
I should put time and effort into that.
Yeah.
Shanae, you should look at something that Mike Boyd taught himself how to do, and then you need to teach yourself how to do it.
What is it?
I don't know. Just pick one.
Do breaking glass with your voice.
Or wheelies. Or trying to get yourself out of the garage.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I got a garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
You're locked in here with me.
all right, I'll try it. But I do have a game. Guess that developer.
Game's gone.
Yeah.
Ben.
Game's gone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna name the games. You gotta name who the developer is.
UEP Systems.
Yeah. You know what that is? Hello?
All right, I'm ready. Let's go.
You ready?
Yep.
Xenosaga series.
Namco.
Super Robot Tyson OG Saga. And the first Namco
Namco.
versus Capcom.
Namco.
Developers.
Bandai Namco. I'm pretty sure Namco developed
Say the
Xenosaga.
first one again.
Xenosaga series, but also Xenoblade.
Monolith.
Yep.
Oh, damn.
I didn't know about those other games.
Blamco.
So next one, Killer 7.
Grasshopper.
Ah, damn it. Manufacturer. I get a half point. Right, Tom?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, then you both get a half point on that one.
No,
I should
Tom
have
gets
played
a
the crickets,
Yeah.
but I don't know which doodad it is.
Uh,
Grasshoppers.
Yeah, I
Space
read it.
Invaders.
Namco.
Galaxy Wars.
Oh, fuck.
Atari.
No.
Lupin the Third.
Namco.
Polaris.
Konami.
Hold on. Activision. Midway?
What was the first one again?
Space Invaders.
Oh, I'm thinking Galaga. Fuck, I don't know.
Taito.
No
Oh,
shit.
Taito.
Wow.
Ah, all right.
Bust a move.
River City Ransom. Did you know that? Why isn't that on the list?
Why isn't that on your precious fucking list?
I'm sorry you're not getting the points. Don't be mad.
I just figured you'd like, never mind, go ahead.
Blitz the League.
Midway. No, wait. Oh, shit, that's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ah, Midway. All right.
Funny, Ryan was just talking about that game last night.
That game is badass, man. It's got performance enhancing drugs in it. You know what that is? Of course you don't.
Steroids.
Oh, cool.
That's it?
Yeah, that was it today.
Who won? Ryan?
Well,
Oh no,
well
you
Tom got a point. I got a half point because you
did.
said.
You got.
Because you said.
He got Monolith, then he got Grasshopper. You get half a point for saying the manufacturer, and then you get Midway. So he has 2, and you have 1.5. So with last game, he has 4,
I see this.
and you have 3.5.
Shanee, who directed Shadows of the Damned?
Who directed? I don't know.
Ryan?
Suda 51.
And?
Fuck. Wait. Fuck. Isn't it that Resident Evil fella?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Shinji Mikami.
Shinji Mikami. Shin Mikami Tensei. That is also known as Persona 1 through 3. Okay.
I mean, it's a spin-off.
What?
Persona 1 to 3?
Uh-huh.
It's a spin-off.
Shin Mikami Tensei. They bear the name.
SMT, yeah.
They bear the name. Devil Trigger.
Sure.
Pull my Devil Trigger, Shanee.
I'd rather not.
Gauntlet.
Did you say Gauntlet?
No, she didn't get to.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was like
Can I say this?
Lupin the Third.
Lupin?
Lupin? Lupine?
Lupine? Lupin.
Oh, is it Lupin?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It's how they say it in France.
I hate you so much sometimes.
All I said is that's how they say it in France.
No more heroes.
So that was our game tonight. You can find us on most
Tonight?
or today, whatever.
Save continue late night. I'm telling you, we gotta do it.
With the neon
We
sign?
gotta do it one of these days.
Yeah.
Late night. Yeah. Save
You-
continue after dark.
Yeah.
So you can find us on most podcast apps, YouTube, browsers, YouPorn.
We're over that, Shanee. You don't see that anymore.
Yeah. It's pronounced Braziers.
I'm a brass musician.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to us be goofy. Y'all have a good night now, y'all.
Yeah. Y'all come back now.
Here.
Bye, guys.
Bye.